Jackson, don't be silly. Not a single thing on this car is measured, nor will it ever be. Bellissimo. By now you've probably realised that we have been kicked out of the crack den, but it's okay, because what it means is upgrades. Leon, Henry and Jackson have moved into this new space. It's absolutely sick, and I've been lucky enough to scab a few square metres to tinker with the 80 series today. Now today's plan is simple. We're taking arguably Australia's most useless Landcruiser and making it marginally more practical. My plan for the end of today is to be sitting on a nice beach somewhere with the awning out, in a camp chair, just bloody enjoying myself. Hopefully everything goes to plan. We're going to be fitting up everything that's in front of me. Automotive Superstore sent out some roof rack situations. Darche have sent out their brand new 270 awning. Let's jump down here. I'll run you through exactly what the plan is and we'll get on the tools. Now, first things first, I've been putting off putting a roof rack on this car for 12 months because I just couldn't really find something that I was loving. And to be fair, I still haven't quite found the thing that I'm loving the most. So I think what we're gonna end up having to do is some kind of custom roof rack situation that's super low profile and sort of looks like a set of gutter sliders. But for the meanwhile, in the interim, what we're gonna be fitting up are these. So Automotive Superstore sent us out these front runner crossbars. They're super lightweight, very unobtrusive, still quite slimline. And I don't think they're going to draw too much attention away from the car, which is ideal. Their only purpose of these is simply to mount this awning, and in the near future we're going to mount some Light Force driving lights on them. So it really don't have to do that much work. So the front runner rack is super simple to put together. So you basically get these crossbars. Now the beautiful thing about front runner is it's very modular stuff. So the leg kits, these slats, you can get different sizes, different height legs. You can do their flat sort of platform racks and all that sort of thing. I just wanted to go super simple, super basic for this, I guess, first iteration of the roof rack. All aluminium and seemingly very high quality, so that's exciting. So it comes in two parts. Basically you get the slats up on the top of the car. We've just test fitted the first one, which I put together just before off camera, just to make sure that we did actually have the right thing and I put it together correctly. So that's exciting. Basically everything you need comes in the box. These are the sort of legs that are going to be clamping around the gutter. Front runner, it's a Dometic brand. Very sort of nice, stealthy, I think, roof rack for what we're going for here. I'm sure there is a scientific way to making sure it's dead center and all that sort of thing, but it beats me if I know what that is. So what we're gonna do is put it up on the top of the car loose, roughly measure with my eyes, and then tighten it while it's up there. Take it back off once it's all tight, so we know that when we put it back on, it's gonna be center. Then what we're gonna have to do is, because these Darche brackets are pretty hardcore, and pretty sturdy. Obviously you want them pretty hardcore and heavy duty. So what we're gonna do then is, once these are up there, mark out on that platform exactly where we need to drill the holes. I think 4 should be enough to mount this bad boy up. And bada bing, bada boom, we should have a 270-degree awning mounted up on a 1,060 horsepower Landcruiser. So that's ridiculous, but also exciting. So let's do it. Alrighty, now let's go see how this fits and where we're going to put him on the car. The first one up there is probably in roughly the right spot. We don't want it too far forward because on the 80 series the gutters dive down, so we want it still pretty flat. What we're going to do to make sure that it's level is probably just measure off this door and make sure that we've got, say, 50 mil there, 50 mil on the other side, so we know they're straight. And then what we'll do is we'll just measure off the bracket to the end, because obviously we can slide this back and forth to make sure that it's centered to the car. Nothing more ridiculous looking than if you've got an off-centered roof rack. You know who I'm talking about, you and your ugly cars. So we'll just sit that on loosely. We'll go to the other side, we'll put it in the gutter, and then we can start looking at where we're going to mount them up. Alrighty, so we don't want these too far apart because the awning's quite heavy. We don't want them too close, again, because we don't want too much flexion. If you think about this, the 270 is going to be swinging on that side and the hinge is going to be on the back, obviously, because it wraps around the tailgate. So there's going to be a fair old bit of weight hanging off here. So we probably want them, I'm going to say, in the middle of the window there, which gives us a good point to measure off because we can go off that square edge there. Bada bing, bada boom. Bellissimo. Doesn't look too Jackson, don't be silly. Don't be silly. Not a single thing on this car is measured, nor will it ever be. This is where it's gonna get tricky. Because we need that to protrude far enough that the awning can be mount it up and not hit this, but not so far that it looks ridiculous. Here's my thought process, everyone. So I don't want the awning to really overhang the car, because if we go wheeling, it's just gonna drag on stuff. But even with this on, right, that's pretty much flush there. So I'm pretty happy with that. What I'm gonna do is put this down, pull out, anyway, this, from the center out, 20 mil. So we just have 20 mil here. We can pull these off and mark them. 20 mil there, pull it off, mark them. Drill, 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 bolt, 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 bolt. Job's done. Remember 20 mil, because as soon as I pull this off, I forget it. 40 mil, 107 mil. Let's go over to the chair, shall we, and mark this up and drill some holes, I suppose. So my original thought process to mount these bad boys, because obviously Darche have done their best to accommodate this bracket for every freaking roof rack in the world, but for this particular one, it's a little bit awkward. I think because the awning is only around 25 kilos, we should be fine. My original plan was gonna basically be to drill 4 holes through this actual crossbar, but I don't think that's a very smart thing to do. So what I'm actually gonna think is use this reinforced sort of slot in the center here, because we've got some bolts that we can drop in, the same as how this is actually all bolted together. And what we're gonna do is basically run 4 bolts in the center here. And that'll also mean we don't have to molest this crossbar. It should still give us more than enough strength to have the awning. And even when it's up on the car, we can move it in and out on that sort of sliding channel before tightening it all up. So I think that's gonna be the smartest thing. The only downside is the bolts are about probably 75 mil, 80 mil long. So they're gonna stick up really quite far. So we're gonna have to cut those down with the grinder, but that's all right, we can do that. And then bada bing, bada boom. We're not ruining a nice roof rack. So we're gonna have to cut these, which is a shame because Leon's Porsche race car is right there and I'm gonna spray sparks all over it. Kid, I would never. I mean, look at the vice. Asking for it. Fucking asking for it. So, we're just getting ready to cut these bolts down roughly in half. But before we do that, obviously, if you're gonna put an angle grinder through a bolt, you're obviously gonna munch the thread. So, a tip for young players before you go and shorten all your bolts and now can't get a nut back on it, is wind a nut down first, cut past that, and then basically just take the nut off, and that nut's gonna help keep the thread, or basically recut the thread if you do mangle it a bit, so that then you'll be able to still get that same nut back on. Thank me later. Ooh, this is a crunchy bolt. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. That will be hot. Leon, if for some reason you're watching this, let it be known that I'm using my flammable shorts as a shield to protect your car. Three, 4. Cut 8 bolts, because obviously we want to make our life easy for the next time. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, let me go find some washers. Oh, actually, hold on a second. It's a wonderful thing when it all comes together. The good thing about not measuring a single bolt when I cut it is they're all slightly different lengths. So that's good. Just like I bought one. All right, let's go put this back on the car, I guess. Alrighty, so this can go a little something like that. Now, what we need to do now is I'm going to clamp these down tight to the gutter. That's step 1. So let's do that. We really are just winging it here, folks. So I'm sure Front Runner and Darche have instructions that are probably really good, but it's just one of those things. As a red-blooded male, won't be reading them. Tell you what, it doesn't happen often, but when you find the hole first time, it's a hell of an experience. Also, treps make a fantastic shelf. Yeehaw. All right, for starters, do you want to just fit nicely in there? Or, okay, you off. Okay. Oh, might have been upside down actually. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's how they fit them at the shops too. Okay, progress. Roof racks, mounted, finished, super sturdy, and I'm pretty sure they look okay. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Obviously, the rackless look is hot, but I think if you're gonna have to have roof racks, this is pretty good. The plan will be to also mount some Light Force Strikers or one of their Viper 50-inch light bars up on that rack as well. So I think we've got it far enough forward that we can do that pretty well. The next thing is gonna be here. So we've got these loosely bolted down, but we're now basically just gonna mount the awning up on there, see how close in we can tuck it, and then tighten everything up. Hopefully hit the beach. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm reading the instructions. I've been sprung. I may or may not be reading the instructions, only because I'm scared. But that's fine. Also, Darche give you 3 brackets to mount the awning, but we only have 2, so fingers crossed. It's gonna give this thing like a passenger side Cali lean, which is a shame, but because if you even, I can probably climb up this little dog here, and then if I just get the front ones in, okay, things are happening in the House of Commons. Okay, and I'm gonna give you the weight. I'm just gonna move the ladder. Oos. All right, you good, bro? Thank you kindly. Appreciate you. Nice. Oh, working up a sweat. Nice, man. I think we basically want to have it, I may in the future bring this back a little, but because it's 270, you sort of need to have that hinging edge towards the back of the car. So we may also have to sacrifice this spoiler, but I think for the coverage and the function of a 270 awning is well worth it. So obviously we can move this around a little bit, but it's looking pretty good from where I'm bloody standing. Boom. We have made this thing that little bit more practical. I do want to go on some trips, whether they're just weekends or day trips, and I think having an awning on your full drive is an absolute essential part of that. There's no one I trust to have an awning on this car other than Darche. Now, you're probably wondering, Sam, we haven't even seen the thing opened up yet. And you know, sure, I could open it up in this little warehouse, but I've got a much better idea. Come with me. Well, it has turned it on weather-wise. This is an absolute glamour of a day. We're at one of my favorite spots for a day trip just south of Sydney CBD. And this is exciting for a stack of reasons, because for starters, this car has not been on anything other than blacktop since I built it. So the fact that it's here on a beach that we can drive on is ludicrously exciting. The second thing is that this is one of my favorite spots. The weather's lucked out. It is warm as hell. And I've got a brand new awning to test out. That Darche 270, it's freestanding, it's easy to set up, and I can't wait to show you exactly just how simple it actually is. Tell you what, surfers in the background, birds, waves, man, we're lucky to do what we do. Okay, now, just before I dive into setting this up, I'm gonna hit you with 2 things. The first is I've got no idea what I'm doing, and this is literally the first time I've ever even seen one of these awnings. The second of all, the second thing is that being a red-blooded male, I threw the instructions out before I had a chance to read them. So that being said, take everything I do now with a grain of salt, but I think it should look pretty simple. Basically, the first few arms are gonna fold out and go around, then it's gonna go out the front. With a bit of luck, it's all gonna make sense, but just come along for the ride. Okay. We've got some canvas, that's good. Now it is a little bit windy here today, but Darche have tested this in up to 50 km/h winds, which this is definitely not. with it still being freestanding, so that's pretty cool. But if you do get worried, of course, they've got the poles there as well. Okay, so once you walk around here, you want to make sure you've got your straps, and that's basically going to be to hold it out taut. So, hoop him in there. You walk it around, and then you basically just want to find somewhere on your car that you can strap it to. So, in my case, we're going to go around to the slider. If you had like a roof platform, you could go off that as well. Like that, you just tighten up. It's a ratchet system. That's going to hold tension there. You follow me back to the other side. We're going to do a similar thing with the front here. What we want to do is basically, I'm learning with you guys. So this is a removable piece that you don't actually have to run. So you can either put that down or get rid of it altogether. I think for the ease of this demonstration, we'll get rid of it. But hook in there, walk him around the front, find somewhere to do him up. So the bull bar in this case, probably going to work pretty well. Feed him through this sort of cam buckle strap. Nice, Super Tourer. Now this thing is sick. I'll be the first advocate, the biggest advocate to say that. It's got inbuilt integrated two-tone LED lights, which is super, super impressive. They can be white or amber. Darche have tested this thing in so many different wind conditions as well, so you know it's going to be really sturdy. If the wind does pick up, you've got a pole there, a pole here, and a pole around here, and when it's set up with the poles and tethered to the ground, you can actually have this up in winds up to 90 kilometers an hour. I think this is definitely one of my favorite mods I've done. I've never had a 270-degree awning like that, or like this, especially one that opens up to the front as well. But the amount of space you have under here now, pretty damn cool if you ask me. Ah, we have the finishing touch as well. This is, how do they say? Living, Barry. Now, you've probably heard me mention the integrated dimmable and two-tone LED lights that are in 1, 2, 3, and 4 main outright poles. And it's a super clever way that Darche's done this. So you're probably wondering what gets kept in this little bag, and that's basically the removable loom for this. So you don't have to worry about trying to run permanent power up to your awning or anything weird like that and getting power to your roof. Which can be notoriously tricky. So the LEDs run the entire length of this pole. If you're not using the legs, you still have around 40 centimeters of light that's going to be shining down. If you want the full effect of the LED, you can drop these poles and let them basically just stand up. Now what you do is, this is the first part of it. Now it's a super simple design actually that Darche have done here, but basically what you can come along and do is in the base of each one of these, there's a little, well, almost looks like a headphone jack, but it's the way that you can get power into each of these outrights. So you can plug that one in, then obviously the last one is a further away one. So what I've just been doing is pass it up behind your roof rack, behind the roof rack, and then you can plug it in over here, like that. Now there's one more piece of this puzzle, and this is what I think is actually a really clever design by Darche, is you can just then plug this in, obviously that's completely waterproof, and plug that end in to a USB power bank like what I have here. And in my particular case, what I would then do is tuck this inside the car, run it in there like so that you don't have to worry about it. And you can control it from the buttons on here. So you can go on, so it'll give you yellow light, it'll give you white light, it'll give you a mix of both, and it's also dimmable. So you can have a plus and a minus on here as well. So it's a really clever way, a really neat way to actually get power to these lights, power the lights and all that sort of thing. It's really cool that you've got an integrated little bag to keep all that stuff out of the way if you don't want to use it. Like today, it's bloody broad daylight. So I'm going to undo what I just did. There's a couple more features I wanted to run you through on this awning before we say sayonara. I really do love this product, and it's one of those things that I will speak about until the cows come home, because having just set it up here in this sort of windy conditions, it really is a cool thing. Darche have been 2 years in the design phase before dropping this to market earlier this year, so you know it's well thought out. These X-beam sort of alloy rafter arms, not only are they black, so they're super unobtrusive, but they're super strong and lightweight. This whole thing only weighs about 25 kilos. It's got a 300mm water head rating. It's got 320 GSM ripstop canvas, integrated LED lights. It's got the poles for that added peace of mind, and it comes with everything you need. It comes with the wiring for the lights. It comes with guy ropes. It comes with the pegs. Absolutely everything you could possibly need to use this awning comes with it, including some really heavy duty mounting brackets. Anyway, that's enough out of me. The sun's getting low. I've got places to be and I've got to pack this thing up, which realistically is only a 90-second job anyway. So I'm going to do that and I'm going to boot scoot. As always, guys, if you want to find out anything more about this product, head to Darche's website. If you want to get some roof racks or any accessories like that for your car as well, check out automotivesuperstore.com.au. And as always, do me a solid, guys. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, turn on notifications, drop a comment, share this to your friends. This thing's becoming a super tourer more and more by the day. Drop a comment as well if you think I should keep converting it into a tourer or keep it as a bit of a play truck. Anyway, guys, we'll see you next Thursday.